to a new episode of the Total R&B podcast. My name is Loreena, and today I have an amazing singer. She is a rising R&B artist from Mississippi, now in LA, and she is here to talk about her latest single called Obsessive, which is out now on all streaming platforms. You could catch the visualizer on YouTube as well, and we're going to get into all the things. So welcome to the podcast, girlfriend.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here and answer some dope questions.
Yes, well, thank you for coming on the podcast, taking time out of your day to come and chat with me for a bit. So I really do appreciate it. I always start off the podcast the same way. I always ask the same question. What comes to mind when I say, "What is your first memory of R&B music?"
I think the first thing that comes to mind when I think of my first memory of R&B is me just being a little girl, watching Janet Jackson concerts when I was really young. So my dad used to put those on all the time. So that was really like my first. I think my first memory of R&B.
I love that. Is there like a favorite tour of hers that you love or that you remember as a
Yeah,
kid?
yeah. So there was, I don't remember the exact name of the tour, but I do specifically remember it being like in Hawaii though. I just
Oh,
forget
yes.
what album it was. I think it was an album with it was All For You. She was performing All For You in Hawaii. That was the one I used to love.
Yeah, no, I remember that one. That one was
Yeah.
cool. I remember watching that too. I think it came on like one of our music stations here in Canada, and I remember watching that concert. Have you ever got to go to one of her concerts, like see her live?
Unfortunately, no. Like I would say, growing up in Mississippi, like there were not a lot of R&B concerts that would come like super close, and so like I just naturally I didn't go as a kid.
Okay. So that's still on the list to do is to see
Yep,
Janet live.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you have to see her live. Like even now that she's older, like her shows are still amazing. Like it's still like that high level quality, the outfits, everything. She's giving everything. So, yeah, definitely have that on the list. So, what inspired you to pursue music?
I think I think seeing the connection artists were able to have with fans, like people like get emotional, like I've seen artists have fans that say like, oh, like you saved my life or you helped me get through this really dark time. And also just like also seeing the healing effect music had on artists kind of let me realize like that was something that I really loved and that I always wanted to be able to experience the same thing.
No, of course. And so what artists did you listen to growing up that maybe you saw had that effect on their fans that really inspired you?
So I listened. I would say like I probably watched some of Michael Jackson's concerts. Like I wasn't like I didn't listen to his music all the time, but like that was one of the first people too that I like when I saw one of his concerts and like people was just like crying and like obviously they was going crazy for him. So that was like one of the first people I saw. As far as like other people I saw have that effect, probably like the Chris Browns, like the Beyoncé's and stuff like that. But I think for me that was all more so from like an observational standpoint rather than like these are artists that I just really listen to all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So who were you listening to all the time? Like who are some of your favorite? Doesn't have to be R&B, but just in general, like who were you listening to growing
Yeah,
up?
yeah, yeah. I listened to like a lot of Chris Brown. A lot of My dad played a lot of reggae music, so he played like a lot of Bob Marley and like Stefan Marley. I was a big fan of Rihanna as a kid as well, and yeah, like I listened to like some of Alicia Keys,
Mhm.
first albums that she came out with. Usher, like I feel like it's always hard for me to like name it because I really just had my playlist of like the things that I thought were the greatest hits, and then I would like listen to like whatever my dad would play. So I was always consuming so much different music.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like hard for me to like really pinpoint a few artists, but I would say to name a couple, it would be those.
No, but it's always hard to pick just a few,
Yeah.
especially if you're growing up in a household where your parents are playing a lot of music. So if you have like a lot of Caribbean influences that you're listening to, there's so many artists in that genre, obviously, than R&B, hip hop. So it's so much great music and great artists that we've had throughout the year. So that is hard trying to pick like the best ones or even remembering some because like you always forget who you're listening to.
Yeah,
So
literally.
exactly. And then you as a new artist, like a lot of people I find when an artist comes on the scene, they often compare them to someone else, whether it be like a SZA or a Summer Walker. But for you, like what would you say is like how would you define you and your sounds?
I think my sound's pretty unique. I think that my sound is just I think it's pretty much every influence I've ever had summed up into one. I don't I personally don't think that I sound like anyone else, but like I have been compared to like SZA, and like recently a lot of people say I sound like Mariah the Scientist, but I don't
I
really
saw that a comment
yeah,
on
like
one of your
I get
videos.
that
They're like, she's like Mariah the Scientist.
yeah, I get that all the times. And like they're all amazing artists, but yeah, those are some of the names like I've been compared to Summer as well. But yeah, those are some of the names that I get compared to. Like personally, I think I just have like a unique sound. I think it just depends on what record you're listening to. If that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah, but I think so too. I think you're carving out your own lane. I think it's just because you're like an unfamiliar face right now because you're new. So I think it's easy for people to just associate somebody to you, I guess, to like navigate like who you are as an artist. But I do see from listening to your music and seeing your videos, you are your own unique person. So I think more people will see that gradually as time goes and like the more music that you put out. So it's going to be really cool to see how that transforms and then people actually see girlfriend.
Thank you
So
so much.
of
Yeah,
course.
I think that's very true. I think but I mean, I never look at that as a negative either because like all these women are like immensely talented. So, even to be compared to them is like, I think it's a great thing. So I'm glad people are like able to use that as a way to, hold on to whatever I have coming out. So I still feel really good about that as well.
No, of course. And then how did you come up with the name girlfriend? And was that your first choice of a name for you as an artist? Did you have other ones in mind?
Um, so at first I was kind of like gonna name myself Bay because I was just thinking like, well, I was like, one day in the studio, like, I wonder what do I really make music about all the time? And I was like, a lot of times it's like me being in my feelings or like some type of relationship. And I said, babe. And then like one of the producers I was working with was like, I think somebody like in the city is already named that. And I was like, oh. And so I was like, girlfriend. And like when I said it, um, it felt good. So like I sat on it a couple days, I asked a few people, and everybody was like, "No, that sounds really cool." And so like after that, it kind of just stuck from there on out.
No, but it's so different because a lot of people actually no, a lot of people do have stage names. It sounds like it's their real name, but then you
Mhm.
find out it's not actually their real name. Like Ari Lennox is a Courtney, and people have like different names than their actual stage
Wow,
name.
I was
But
today years old when I learned
oh,
it.
really?
I had no clue. Yeah,
Yeah, like I don't know. I love like watching other interviews and learning from like the person that's giving the interview and the artist. So when she said that too, I was the same way. I thought Ari Lennox was her actual government name.
I did too.
So I didn't know it was a stage name, but I find a lot of names sound like regular names now. So to come out with girlfriend, I feel like that's different than what we're hearing. And it's a unique name. And I like, there's so many things that you could probably eventually play off of girlfriend with your name too. So I like it. I thought it's a dope choice.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No, of course. Um, and I want to talk about your new single, Obsessive, which is out now. You put it out in the month of March,
Hmm.
and also a visualizer. So let the people know what Obsessive is about.
So obsessive for me is about like kind of like having a situation where you're with someone, like you're not with someone, but like you are, but like there's no title. And
Hmm.
so it's like that weird feeling of like, I really want to be like territorial over you right now, but I know I can't. So like, let me just chill and like, I'm finna vent in this song. And like, that's what I did. That's basically what the song was about.
again, it's something relatable that a lot of people are either going through or they're seeing a lot like on social media for those that like to put their business out there. You
Hmm.
see that a lot of times with like, those relationship podcasts, trying to tell people how to be in different situations and stuff. So I think it's really like a great time to talk about this topic because I feel like so many people can relate to that.
Definitely. Like I see a lot of stuff like that too, and I feel like, especially the type of person I am, like I feel like I feel a lot of emotions, and like I am very vulnerable, but I don't always just want to come out and be like, hey, like I'm
Hmm.
sweating you, like you, I don't want you to do that, but you know, I still want to be able to say it in like some kind of way, you know what I'm saying? So I may be acting like I don't care, like on the outside, but like deep down, I'm just like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, no, definitely. That's why I think a lot of people are gonna be able to relate to because a lot of people are not wanting to be vulnerable, especially in
Mhm.
relationships. They want to put up this like block, like, oh no, I got it, like everything's fine. Or if it's not working out, like forget him, forget her, whatever. Kind of just keep it like black and white when it's
Right.
not always like that.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Yeah, and I feel like we in a it's 2020, it's 2025. Oh my goodness. It's 2025 right now, and I feel like we just in this, everybody's so nonchalant, don't nobody want to show their feelings like you say. So I don't know. That's where we at right now. That's just a really weird space. I don't really like it, but hey.
know, hopefully it changes up soon because I feel like we've been there for a while with the
Yeah,
whole like not sharing my feelings. Everything is toxic. Everything is this person is cheating, like, all that stuff. So I hope things kind of change over and maybe we get like more of a mix of like topics
agreed.
would be
Agreed.
good.
I think it's getting old. I think it's time for a new era.
Yeah, me too. I feel that way too, but I just feel like not everybody should just jump ship. I feel like there should be like a mix because people are still gonna
Mhm.
go through that type of stuff. There should be music for them, but like let's bring back some, love or like having a crush on
Yeah,
somebody or dating and different things like that. Like, a mixture of stuff for everybody.
100%. I agree.
Um, I want to talk about the visualizer, like who came up with the concept.
There was like me and my team kind of like collaborated. I think I kind of came up with like the overall scope of like how I wanted like everything to feel, you know, creatively. I really like for each of my own songs to like have its own world, and like when I listen to Obsessive, it gives me like a really vulnerable feeling, but then it also gives me a feeling of aggression and a feeling of like I feel crazy, literally, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, like we just did some brainstorming, and that's kind of like what we came up with. Like I came up with the initial idea of like I wanted it to feel like I was like in my head, and so like
Mhm.
whatever way we could figure out how to make that a thing, you know, I thought that would be dope. And so it kind of turned into, you know, in the visualizer, you know, the room that I'm in is kind of indicative of like my mind in a way. And then you have like these two versions of me, like almost like I'm talking to myself, you know what I'm saying? And like I'm being spun around in a circle. So it just really, I really wanted to get across the idea of like, what does obsessive feel like? Or like, what does it feel like when somebody makes you feel like crazy or like out of your body in a way?
Yeah, no, it was super dope. I enjoyed the visualizer and I think it went well with the song too. So I thought it was super dope. And there's another video too that I really like that we're gonna get into just now. But I just wanted to ask too about like the songwriting aspect. Like how do you go about with your songwriting to create music?
I think for me, songwriting is like it's usually really like pretty emotional process. You know, sometimes if I hear a beat, I can pretty much approach any beat, but I think it's always the best and the most authentic when I hear a beat or when I hear production that feels like the feeling that I have. And with Obsessive, it was like, you know, it was like a perfect marriage. And so I kind of like freestyled. It was kind of like a freestyle, and then I came back and kind of like added the second verse and like really thought about what I was saying.
Oh,
So
that's dope. That's amazing.
thank you.
And I did see online too that you play the guitar.
Hmm.
Right? So is that something where you played like almost your whole life? Did you take lessons? Are you self-taught?
So I played like I was always like picking up guitars as a little girl because like growing up in the country, like sometimes my uncles just used to like go out on a porch and just play, or like my dad also used to play with his friends and stuff. But I think I seriously started playing it like 3 or 4 years ago. Like I had actually lost my voice and like I couldn't sing for a long time, and so that was the only way that I could express myself was like playing an instrument. So I bought a guitar and then I learned. And then when my voice came back, like I was able to like do both.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy to lose like your voice because that's something like your instrument that you use, for like you want to build your career around that too. So not to have that, that probably was like really scary.
It was the scariest thing I have ever gone through in my entire life. My voice was gone like 3, almost 4 months at one point.
Wow.
So yeah, it
Oh
was
my God.
crazy. It was crazy.
Whew. Yeah, that would have scared me. That would have
Yeah.
scared the hell out of me. Oh my God. And do you play any other instruments?
No, I don't play any other instruments, but I do engineer, and I do like a bit of production as well. But
Ooh, that's dope.
yeah.
That is so I love to hear when like women are doing like engineering and production because I feel like it's not highlighted enough. And there's so many that do that, but no one really talks about it. So I always when I hear somebody that does do it, I'm always like, oh, that is so dope. So that's probably something I'm gonna probably highlight if I can that you do because I think more people
Thank
should
you.
know and celebrate that. That's dope.
Thank you
Um,
so much.
of course. And so collaboration. So before Obsessive, you did have two other singles. Tell Me Again with Bass Swag was on that track. And then Feeling, you had Maya the Dawn on that too. So how do you and your team go about finding people to collaborate with?
I think it just varies. Like sometimes people have just kind of like stumbled across me in some way, and then sometimes my A&R will kind of be like, "Oh, like I think this person sounds good on a song," and then like if I ever have a recommendation, I could always do that as well. But I think it just depends on the record though.
Okay. Well, it's good options because I think they both did so well on the songs too. Like it flowed and it just made sense when you hear the whole record and you see like who's on it. So it was really dope. And then I was laughing because the other video was Feeling with Maya the Don. I was like, whose idea was it to have that man bump into the car like that? That was hilarious. It reminded me of Redman's video that they had that segment too. But I just liked how it was the other way around. It was the guy that was riding the bike and then he smashed into the car and, looked
that
crazy.
that part was really funny. I have to give the you know, videographer credit for that. That was a really dope scene though.
Did he have to do that like more than once?
I think he did it like once or twice. I don't think it was too many times though. And it
Okay.
was funny because I remember him practicing the fall before he did it.
That is hilarious. I love like it's such a like a good video altogether. But then when I saw the end, because I saw him riding slowly, I'm like, he's gonna bump into something. Like I know it. And then it happened. I was like, oh my gosh, I was laughing. It was funny.
Yeah,
I like that that was added in.
thank you. Yeah, he was really talented. He was doing crazy tricks on the bike and everything before that
Oh
happened.
wow.
So, yeah,
Oh cool.
he's a real stunt man.
I love that. And so with collaborations, do you have anybody on your wish list to collaborate with? Like not even just like an artist, it could be like a producer or a songwriter that you have like on your mind to work with.
You know, I've always wanted to work with Missy Elliott. I just think she's like a amazing songwriter and producer. And then like also I've always been as a creative, like musically and as a creative, I've always been like a big supporter of Tierra Whack as well. So that's also a person that I really want to work with. Yeah, like also just like some of the R&B girlies as well, like Summer, SZA, like all of those. A lot of people. Like I feel like I really want to collab like with a lot of people. Probably Ty Dolla Sign. I
Mm.
could go on.
Yeah, no, that would be dope, especially Missy. Like I want to see Missy collaborate with more of the newer artist because she's so like out of this world when it comes to creativity, and she
Yeah.
could do so many different things. So I think that would be super dope um with that. And Tiara Whack too. She is so amazing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to those collaborations that are going to be happening sometime in the future. Okay. Um, I did want to ask too because, like I mentioned, you're from Mississippi, but you're still in LA right now, right?
Yes.
So I saw that there was a struggle to get some soul food in LA. Have we found some soul food in LA, or are we still stuck cooking our own food?
So we've been cooking our own food. I have found some recommendations. Like I literally have like in my notes, I have like a little spot where I have like all the restaurants that I'm about to try. So I just have to go try it. But I feel hopeful right now. So
Okay. Well,
I'm gonna do my research.
if I get to LA this summer, I'm gonna have to hit you up so that I could get some recommendations
I
of
got
some
you.
places to go. Because I
I got
saw that, I was like, oh no, that sucks when you're
yeah.
away from home and you can't get the food that you love. Oh my God,
Oh my goodness.
so
Yeah.
crazy. And I want to know too for like other artists that are up and coming in this industry, like what advice would you give to them when it comes to like, I guess, breaking into the music industry? Like what has worked for you?
A lot of prayer, close relationship with God. I think I think put him first, everything else will follow, you know. I think also just really taking the time to figure out yourself, like learn yourself fully, like know who you are. I think people can people can only help you, you know, create the art that you want to create if like you're able to really like have a great relationship with yourself and like understand like what drives you. I also think just being very, you know, like don't be shy to like network and connect with people and just never stop working. I think consistency. So
Mhm.
those are like my biggest, that's my advice right now.
No, but that's good, especially networking, consistency, also keeping God first. Like those are important things. I think that would help anybody across the board, no matter what like um, career that you're going after.
Mhm.
After, I think those three things will get you really far. So thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Of course.
What else do you have coming up this year? Is there like a full album or EP that's coming out? Are you releasing more singles? Are you have any like tour dates that are coming up?
So I definitely have some performances coming up. I have a performance in Texas, New York. So yeah, definitely like some opportunities to see me perform. Um, I'm gonna be dropping like an EP, and yeah, just like new music, new collaborations, and yeah, like a lot of exciting things coming. So I'm really
So
excited.
what would you say is the difference between because you released your self-titled girlfriend in 2022, I think it was,
Hmm.
and then creating music now for your EP, like what has been the biggest lesson you would say between recording that first project and now this?
That's a great question. I think like there's no right or wrong way to create music. As long as you create music from the heart, you will create amazing music. That's how I feel. I think the biggest like me listening to like my new EP and like my old music, it feels like this. It feels similar because like obviously it's still me and it's still authentic, but it feels like older, like obviously a lot more mature. And so
Hmm.
yeah, I would just say like don't think about um don't think too hard when creating, just do it, you know.
No, of course. Yeah, no. But I'm so excited because I love seeing like artists their journey from like where they started or where I'm introduced to them, of course, and then seeing how they grow and how they try things too. I can't remember who I was talking about that too. But I feel like sometimes a lot of artists, we don't get to see them try different things because they get to a certain point and then there's a lot of criticism if they kind of sway from what we're used to. So I like seeing artists more like at the beginning stages because when they're trying to figure out their sound and their growth and stuff like that. So it's going to be really exciting to see like the music that you're coming out with and everything because everything so far has been super dope from your first project, the singles that you put out, everything has been really, really good, and the visuals too. So excited for
Thank
what's
you so
next.
much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think like that's like an amazing point, and it's really true. I think like something that people don't think about is like, let's say you hear an artist album for the first time. Like when I how I think as an artist and a writer, like when that person wrote the album, they were literally just being raw and just writing from their heart. And
Hmm.
so there like different spaces in your life and like different times are gonna like create art that resonates with different people. So I
Yep.
think you can't always expect everything to sound the same because life is like ever changing. Like life is fluid, art is fluid, and I think whatever you create from your heart, like you always gonna find people that are gonna like be able to resonate with that. But that's crazy that you brought that up because that's something that I think about a lot as well. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
thank
no,
you so much though.
no, definitely. So that's why sometimes I feel like, artists are so brave to like put music out too, because there's just so many voices that are coming at them from every direction. So
Hmm.
when artists are able to put out work that they're genuinely like happy with, like I love it that they're able to do that, because a lot of people kind of sometimes shy away from that, unfortunately, and then they don't really enjoy what they're doing because they're growing in a different direction, but are making music that it's totally opposite. So yeah, that is true. So what I want to do now is I want to create a playlist. So I'm going to shoot out some different moods, and you're going to give me the R&B song that you feel goes with this mood. If you want to
Okay.
give more than one, you can do that too. It's your playlist. You do what you want.
Okay.
All
The
right.
pressure's on.
I don't feel like you could definitely look through your playlist on whatever streaming platform you use, because some people do that too to look for a song. So if that's
Okay.
what you need to do, go right ahead.
Okay.
So yeah, the first one is um, give me a song that puts you in a good mood. So no
Mm,
matter what, if that song comes on, you're in a good mood right away.
probably probably Kiss Me More by Doja Cat and SZA.
Yeah, that's such a good song too. It's like,
I love that song.
yeah, I like that. I like that option. What's a song you would listen to on a rainy day? What
On
gives
a
you like
rainy
rainy
day.
day vibes?
What's that Drake song? It's called it's some type of interlude. It's on his Views album.
I don't remember. He has so many interludes.
Oh, Summer's Over interlude.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
yeah, that's the one. Okay. What's a song you would play when in love?
Shirt Off Outside, my girlfriend.
I love it. What's a song you would play when going through a breakup?
Probably Over It by Summer Walker.
That's a good one. What's a song that you think has the best lyrics?
Oh, Pound Cake.
What's a song more people should know about?
I think there's this artist named, I think her name's Dally.
Okay.
What's this song? I forget the name of her song though. I think it's called Nasty or something like that, but it may be wrong. I may be wrong. I'm gonna say she okay, Virginia. Let's say Virginia by Dally.
Virginia by Dali.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah. She's a, like
that's
a
a song. If nobody knows, we got to look that up.
mm-hmm.
And then what's a song that reminds you of summer?
A song that reminds me of summer.
Hmm.
Probably probably Ocean Eyes by Billie Eilish. My summers probably are like very soft and pretty. So
Yeah,
Ocean.
whatever that is to you. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Billie Eilish, it is perfect. Well, thank you so much for creating a playlist with us. I appreciate that. And this episode is coming out in April, so it is going to be around your birthday. So happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
Of course. So I hope you have an amazing birthday. Let everybody know where they can follow you so that we can keep up with everything, girlfriend.
Of course, so follow me on Instagram at girlfriend dot four underscores. You can find me on TikTok under girlfriend underscore underscore, and it'll be the same thing on my threads, Twitter or X now, and yeah, pretty much, yeah, everywhere else.
All right. Well, thank you so much, girlfriend, for coming on the Total R&B podcast. I appreciate you so much for doing this. And to everybody that's watching and listening, this is the Total R&B podcast. My name is Loreena, and you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at total.rnb. And I will be back next week with a brand new interview.
Thank you so much.